What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor. And yes, you did read the title completely right. There was $28 million worth of Snap options traded in one larger bulk orders and multiple other different orders going through. We're going to take a deep dive at it. Like, what does this mean for the stock? Where it can potentially go? We're going to be looking at the technicals and maybe throwing some fundamental knowledge in there with the very large dip that we saw within Facebook happening, and it's continuously kind of grinding lower. At the same time, seeing a lot of large institutional buying of Facebook puts. So on that note, let's kick it off and jumping into Snap weekly chart here. This thing has been pretty much a nice little steady eddy here on that large gap up from the last earnings. Really kind of made it into like this, like a flag, a bull flag, some people might call it that, and kind of just building this base here, waiting for the longer dated moving averages to kind of catch up with it and kind of build this kind of support beam. As you can see here, this little trend line here kind of broke out as of today. The thing we want to see a little bit more at the same time is a little bit more volume. We did see a little bit of a pickup in volume, but where could we see this could go? The first easy, most potential target is going to be potentially around that $80.85. But with some Fibonacci numbers that we looked at, we were looking at potentially 90 to 100. That would be a nice potential profit-taking zone again. So we can kind of look at that. What does that mean? What kind of profit would that ensue if we draw a profit line here? Was basically looking for like a 20% increase in this move here. So at the same time, we saw Facebook pretty much crater the other today, gapping down pretty substantially here. A lot of people are trying to catch this falling knife here, but it's a little bit more aggressive on my base to look at it here. Again, we have the 8 crossing through the 34 EMA in very steep downward candle. So this is something I really don't want to be touching here. Potentially looking for some short dated support here around 340 to maybe 335, 336 range, potentially finding some support there. But again, we want to kind of build a base there. We do not want to try to grasp our hand on catching a falling knife in there. So within Snap, let's look at these large call options that we have saw being purchased today. Basically between the golden hour, the golden hour is basically the 3 to 4 p.m. or the last hour of trading. We saw a large order come through on January 2022. Someone bought, look at this, volume was 21,000 contracts that time. And it was a $70 call for January of this coming year. So let's just bring that into the chart here. We can kind of see here, we break this down to like a 15-minute chart. You can see here that bulk order came in here. Basically, I think they bought it around like a little bit over 14 something cost basis average here, strong into the close. That is honestly a very beautiful sign here on seeing potentially Snap going higher here. This is very aggressive action. Like, we don't know the full extent of what the fund, the hedge fund, the institutional investor is trying to go after here, but that is an extreme aggressive move here. So seeing that potentially pop up here, we'll see on how that moves into the zone. So what I mean by that is, do these 21,000 contracts carry over to the open interest tomorrow? That's going to be very important. Or if these were just like very quickly traded on and off quite quickly. But again, that full order that came through was an exact 20,000 contracts. So there was a little bit of piling on. I was honestly one that kind of piled on, and they bought it for about $14.05. So this is something I'm going to keep my very keen eye on Snap, on seeing this very large volatility. Again, me being a retail trader, I'm a little guppy in the world of the ocean of this market here. And if I see a large whale going after this kind of, that they're finding the best feeding ground over here, God forbid, I'm going to be the smart individual and follow the whale, because the whale's smarter. I'm just a retail guppy over here, just trying to get a little bit of cheddar in my hands, if you know what I mean. So this is going to be something that I really want to keep a very close eye on. It is slightly in the money here. So again, if you're not familiar with that, that is basically the cost of Snap is around $78, almost $79. So that's meaning the contracts are in the money, so it's going to be higher delta. That's why you're paying a little bit of a higher premium. So that's why, again, Could this be someone selling the calls? We don't know this quite yet. Are they protecting their position? Are they hedging it? We don't know. What we'd like to see come tomorrow is that 21K. So this open interest tomorrow show an excess of 30K plus. That would be a very bullish sign for the stock here. So let's kind of dive into here on what we're seeing here. We're going to be zooming out to the weekly chart here. Seeing that little bull flag that we talked about here, seeing the continuously kind of dying off of, not dying off completely, but a slowing down of option or stock buying here on the volume here. So since it's earning, again, we know earnings is a very large momentum mover for a lot of stocks here, especially with Snap on their data and so forth. Multiple earnings have gone gangbusters here on just going into the stratosphere on like rocket ships here. You see this, like this one is going basically from $60 to $80 in one fell swoop, and then kind of building a base here. This kind of reminds me of like a staircase. So it has a huge shot higher, kind of levels off here, huge shot higher, kind of levels off here, and kind of builds that momentum up for that next springboard or that next rocket ship higher. So again, what do I mean by some of the charts that we're looking at here? So we just do a very basic fib from swing high to swing low. We have that target at 101, which was again a fib number that we looked at if that continuously some momentum continues. So looking again that in the short term, again, anything can happen. This is a pretty large outlandish move, to be quite honest here, on this potential options buying here. Looking for some very short-term support, basically around 70. If that does break, that could be getting some washing out. This thing could easily come back down to this basically very simplistic trend line that I'm drawing here that my 5-year-old can draw on this lines here. So seeing this potentially coming back down here to maybe create some base for whatever reasons. If there's some more negative news on the overall market coming out, who knows what can happen. That could drive the stock a little bit lower. But again, I'm really looking for this to continue going higher. Not saying we can get a little bit of swashbuckling or chop in the meantime to kind of see how this one plays out. If that does break, we do have that 34 EMA has come in quite substantially as well. So again, you can kind of see that's the orange line there showing that support if we do see any kind of pullback. So potentially, I would like to maybe see this kind of curl back up. Maybe this kind of be somewhat dormant for a little bit, and then we get that large explosion. Potentially, it's not confirmed earnings yet, which is going to be on, it looks like October 19th, but it's not fully confirmed yet. That's why it's showing, Thinkorswim is showing that question mark and not seeing the official icon for the red phone for their conference call. So on that note, I think that this is going to be a really crazy ride, especially with the Facebook news and their reevaluation and maybe potential downgrades coming their way on how the new iOS 15 and the app tracking stuff within Apple has really kind of potentially eliminated some of the market share and profits from Facebook. So looking at this potentially, Snap potentially kind of coming in, being a little bit more different, not the sense of using people's data, but more or less the advertising and selling products on their platform. But the more important thing is the chart. The chart looks absolutely fantastic here. On my perspective, on seeing this really kind of break out here, I would have liked to see a little bit more volume kind of coming in here and seeing it kind of maybe try to break through here, because again, there isn't too many other indicators here. Again, so if we come in here on this chart here, so we're just seeing a little bit, maybe like 20% more than average volume here, but we do have a fairly nice setup coming through here. So we kind of have these, it's been trading pretty tight in this moving average here around this is the basically one deviation channel. So if it's kind of been bouncing around there, kind of compacting back down, getting those rubber bands nice and tight, so potentially see that pop up higher. So again, I'm betting on it going higher here. Again, initially, short-term targets, we're looking at a break above 80 to potentially 83, 84 range. But again, longer-term targets, again, those options were purchased into January of next year, looking for that $100 potentially to be kind of coming in here. So the expected move just for January is about $20. So that would potentially kind of put it in that $100 range if we do see that a really good quarter come out in October for the good old Snapchat being said there. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the affiliate links down below for Tastyworks. All right, guys. Peace.